Welcome to the Check Your Art podcast, a place where we discuss the intersection of faith and creativity.
Join us each week as we explore new ways to use our gifts to glorify God and inspire others.
Hello.
Hi.
Welcome back to the Check Your Art podcast.
Check it.
Check it. Your art.
Check that thing.
But on a podcast?
On a podcast.
Mm-hmm. I'm Jasmine.
I'm Megan.
Yep, that's how you say it.
Without the H.
Megan.
Yes, you pronounce it like Meghan, but there's no H.
No H. The H is non-existent.
Mm-hmm. And silent. And no.
I can believe that.
Yeah.
Well, great.
Yeah.
Today we're doing a little chit-chat, talk about self-criticism, kind of in the frame of consuming your own art. But before we even get that far,
We're not getting that far yet.
hold your horses.
Pause.
Megan, how are you?
Good. Chillin'.
Hmm.
Yep. Not much going on at the moment, which is so nice.
Good.
That's I don't have
That's
much.
it.
Yeah, I really don't. I'm
Same.
having a good time.
That's good.
Yeah.
I also am having a good time with nothing much going on.
It's always a good time.
We don't even have to try.
Yeah. Please don't copyright claim us.
Please don't. It was so bad.
Yeah.
We did not do a good job.
We can't afford it.
We can't.
We can't afford the lawsuits.
It'd be kind of fun,
It would be funny, yeah.
but don't. Cool. Great. Well,
Wonderful.
that was good to know.
Let's just jump right into it.
Jump into it. Yeah, so we're talking about consuming your own art and self-criticism. Just kind of what it looks like to come back, I guess double back on your artwork.
Mm-hmm.
We talked briefly about like why Megan doesn't have her own art hanging in her home.
No.
And so like kind of thinking about that, we have a couple of scriptures. The first one is from Genesis 1:27. So God created man in his own image, and the image of God he created him, male and female he created them. And so that is just to dignify that you are in fact made in the image of God, and maybe be nicer to yourself.
Be a little bit more gracious.
Yes.
At me.
At self.
At self.
And then the second one is Psalm 139:13-14. You made all the delicate inner parts of my body and knit me together in my mother's womb. I praise you because I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Your works are wonderful. I know that full well. And so the basis of this discussion is just honoring yourself in order to honor the Lord, essentially. Not picking yourself apart to pieces because you are not going to be perfect. Sorry. There is only one perfect being, and it is the Lord.
The Lord.
But
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah, because if you are creative in any way, it's really easy to critique your work negatively and to see how, like, whatever it is you created, whether it was a physical piece or if it's a service or like singing or making music or whatever, it's easy for you to be like, oh, I messed up on this part, or I should have done this better. Instead of fully appreciating what you did and how it looks and like the fact that you finished it. And so it's, yeah, like I had mentioned previously in some episode, it's probably somewhere here, that I don't like hanging my own artwork because of this reason. Like I'll get too critical of it. Not to say that I will never do it. I'm sure like there are art pieces, whatever, that I will put up because I'm like fully happy with them, but I don't do that with everything. And I think to an extent that's like normal and fine. But also to an extent like that can be a little dangerous because then it's like if I create something and then I just hate it, then like I'm not trying to be better. I'm just trying to like destroy my own gift that God gave me. And I've heard before, I don't know if it's like an official quote or anything, but one of my friends in college was telling me that like when you are beating yourself up, you're further destroying God's creation. Like, you are God's creation. The gifts he gave you are the ones that he intended for you, and they are a reflection of his character. And so if you are critiquing that, then you're critiquing God. I'm sorry, but you are. So it's very easy to fall into that trap, but don't do it.
Do not do it. Yeah, I think in that context of whenever I hear myself sing, I'm like, ugh, I don't sound like I want to. But it's not because I don't sound good or unlike myself. It's because I want to sound like Katie Torwalt or Stephanie Gretzinger.
Love her so much.
I love so much. Ugh, I just Katie Torwalt.
Yeah.
But anyways, this is not check your Torwalt.
Well,
could be.
maybe.
Maybe someday.
Later.
Torwalt, your art. Anyways. Yeah, I'm, like, oh, I don't sound like I want to, but not because it sounds bad, but because I'm like aspiring to this thing that I wasn't meant for. Like, God did not give me Katie Torwalt's voice on purpose. He gave me my voice. Ding, ding, ding. And so, like, I realized eventually that if I stopped framing it in the context of I wish I sounded like this and just embraced the way that I sound, like, people were very responsive to it, because I've definitely gotten you sounded different. And it's like, yeah, I was being normal. But like, also realizing that me honoring myself and the fact that I sound like myself, and like I worship in the way that God like put into me, is honoring to him, because ultimately like the point of us existing is to point back to him. And so he put these things in you that are a reflection of him in some capacity, and they're unique to you on purpose. And so to be like, oh, I don't like that. Oh, this is what I want this to look like. This is not what I want to sound like. If you're doing it to the best of your ability, maybe there needs to be a different sort of evaluation, because you're probably hitting the mark you're supposed to hit. You just put the mark in the completely wrong place.
Got him.
Ooh, kill him.
Ooh, kill him. Yeah. And I think it's also interesting because I hear this from YouTubers as well. That they don't want to watch their own videos. I don't blame them. I don't want to watch my own videos. And I think part of that is because like the self-criticism thing is evident, but also because you like already experienced it. You already kind of lived that thing. And so watching it again isn't the same as like watching a movie again. It's the same. It's like you've gone through this thing and there were ups and downs, like painting or singing or filming a YouTube video. And you don't want to experience all that again. You already did it. You don't want to do it again. And that's fair. And so I think it's also like just similar. You feel like awkward or embarrassed when you like are experiencing that thing again, whether it's your art on a wall or you see a video of yourself singing or you see a video of yourself on YouTube. You're like, ultimate cringe, and I hate it. But at the same time, like, let's be a little nicer to ourselves. The fact that we did that thing is something to be proud of. The fact that God gave us that gift to do the creative thing is something to celebrate. And like you were saying, like, you're not supposed to be anybody else. You're supposed to be you. God made you for himself, and embracing that is honoring him. And it's easy. Just embrace yourself.
Embrace the ultimate cringe.
The ultimate cringe.
Never mind. But I think, so I'm sure I've said this before, but when I was like starting out in worship, I would beat myself up so much because I just was not perfect, and I will never be. But I didn't really know that, I guess. And we had one of the ladies who played keys I would kind of be venting and she'd be like, did you honor God? And I'd be like, I think so. She'd be like, that's all that matters. I was like, shoot, got him.
You right.
Yeah. And I have said that so many times over so many worship practices now, like to myself and to other people, because it's like, you don't have to be stuck on the fact that you made a mistake.
Yeah.
Like, ultimately, people are not here to judge whether or not you were perfect. And I think that's true across all art forms, as long as you're being authentic. And it's also like, what are you really going to do? Fix it?
Yeah. No.
Well, sorry. But I also know that I'm my own worst critic. And I think that's true for everybody universally.
Yep.
You are the only one who lives in your head and in your process and was there from point A to point B. You are the only one who knows the entire background of that finished product.
Yeah.
And that adds so much more pressure because you know what you've been working on and improving on. But at the end of the day, everyone who is being showcased to that thing is like, wow, she's got a gift.
Yeah.
And
So natural.
yeah, they're not.
Yeah.
You could have done that better.
They're not looking at every brush stroke or listening to every note.
No, and people have been like, oh, I messed that up. But I was like, I didn't hear you and I was there.
Yeah.
You know, like I had in-ears and listening to everything and I had no clue. So they definitely didn't.
Yeah.
You know, so I think that's like, again, it's really a lot of mental exercise to get there.
Yeah.
And repeating to yourself that it's going to be okay. And you honored God and no one cares as much as you do, I promise. If they do, they're judging you and that's their own problem.
Yeah. And it's not your problem.
Nope.
And people typically think that you're a lot more talented than you think that you are. And so, like, similar to what you had just said, like, someone will be like, oh, I messed up. No one knows, really. And with art or with anything that you're creating, if you made a mistake, it's very unlikely anyone's going to notice. And as they do, oh well. I mean, you're a human.
What are they gonna do? Beat you up? What's the consequence?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but I think so that, I mean, looking back, you are allowed to critique yourself. That is not like, we're not saying just do you and don't care how it comes out.
Yeah, be constructive.
Yeah, be constructive. Sure. Care about what you're doing. I think like when I do listen back to myself or I do watch services that I led, I will use that to measure my progress. That is a big thing for me. I will typically sing the same song over and over, like with months spaced out, just to like see how I've improved, if I've improved. And that comes from B, like using that to evaluate what could have been better. And so that may not necessarily be, oh, you need to learn how to hit that note right. It might be, but it could also be, oh, I wish I'd worked on my breathing here. Oh, I wish I'd done something different dynamically because it sounded the same. And I think like, I mean, I'm sure there's examples of that in like art too.
Painting and such. Yeah. I mean, depending, like doing things repeatedly, you're just gonna naturally get better at it anyway. And so the muscle memory will come into play, and like your eye and your attention to detail in like making something visual will also just be trained better, and you'll be able to like pick up on where certain colors need to be, where certain lines need to be, where if you're doing shading, like how the light is going to hit whatever the object is. And so it just takes practice, you know. Like I read a lot of like little webtoon comics on my phone. They're so fun and they're so cute, and like from episode 1 to the final episode is such a drastic difference. It's not like the first episode was bad by any means, but like you just notice the progression throughout the whole series, and you're like, oh my gosh, like it looks like it almost looks totally different at the end of the day. Like it still looks like that person's work, but the shading is better, the line work is better, the colors and like the detail is just like, it's crazy. It's crazy.
It's crazy what you can do just doing the same thing over and over. Yeah. Yeah, I feel the same.
Yeah.
I feel like there's this one song I've led a million times, and one day I did it, and first of all, it's like a 9-minute long song, and it requires a lot of belting, and it is also very fast. And from the first time I did it, I remember sitting in my room for a week and just going over it over and over and over and over and thinking on Sunday, that went well. It went the best I could have hoped.
Mm-hmm.
But I did it again like a year later recently, and I was like, that was easy.
Nice.
And I was like, let's go again.
Yeah, like I can do this 2 more times.
Yeah, maybe not
all
2.
day. Just say that you can.
Yeah, just go with it.
Believe in yourself.
Yeah, but I think there's something to be said of like, there is partially where you are going to get better by looking back on what you've done, but a lot of it is just going to be repetition and practice and endurance and perseverance.
Mm-hmm.
And so honoring yourself by persevering, by not picking yourself apart, and by stepping into who God made you. Oh man, there's a Screw Tape Letters chapter about this.
Ooh.
And it's basically like, if we keep them focused on trying to be someone else, they will never be who God wants them to be. And something along those lines.
Yeah.
That hit me like a train. So focus on being who God wants you to be, in your art, but also in other facets of your life.
Yeah.
And you're going to be so much happier and so much better than you ever believed you could be, because you have the power of God and anime on your side.
And anime. Mostly anime. No, I'm just kidding.
It's at least 99% God.
At least.
But yeah, what are you improving on? What do you want to improve on? How do you want to be better? And how are you going to let God do that for you? And you're not going to do it in your own strength.
You're not gonna.
Tell us in the comments.
Let us know.
We want to hear from you, and also on Instagram.
Yeah, and TikTok.
On TikTok.
Yeah.
And in our DMs.
In our DMs. Oh, and we have an email.
In our email.
Check your art podcast@gmail.com.
You did it.
I did it.
Okay, well, go out there and prove Rockstar
Yes.
or Moonstar
Yeah.
if you're in space.
Sunstar. Star.
Star.
Yeah. Bye, Star.
Hi, Star.
That was fun. Let's do it again sometime.
If you like watching podcasts, we're on YouTube. If you're more of a listener, we're on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and elsewhere in the internet ether.
Follow us on Instagram and TikTok, where we share shorter clips and fun little bloopers.
Okay, bye.